Good morning and welcome to Behind the Screen. I am JM. This is a show where we sit around and we talk about games, board games, role-playing games, card games, tabletop game, miniature games. I have my studio table in front. You can't see it. It's covered in Conquest and 40K minis that I'm assembling and painting and getting ready to teach people how to play, which I'm very excited about. Got a big game of 40K with my son this weekend and got to get my last five immortals put together so we can take out his Tyranids. So yeah, this is where we hang out. We talk about games. We talk about things that inspire us, things that we enjoy, because they are inherently beautiful and feed into our lives. As opposed, role-playing games are one of those things that, as opposed to being strictly a consumer, we are a participator in. I think that makes them wonderful and beautiful. So good morning to Grom and John and Padre and Tink and Mark. JM's Stretch Gold to Fogey. Thanks, John. And thanks, Padre. Yeah, so I will be writing an adventure for the Secret World. I got to get that outline submitted to them sooner rather than later. Got to do another reread of the core book just to make sure I know exactly what I'm going to be working on. But today, we're going to be talking about asynchronous gaming. Or, as it is more colloquially called, play-by-post role-playing games. Now, I love play-by-post role-playing games. I started play-by-post role-playing games back in on a site called Rondax Portal, which I don't even know if it exists anymore. And I ran a half dozen games on Rondax Portal for close to a decade. Had a couple of Google group games and tried a couple of forum-based ones, and just wasn't, the format wasn't for me. So, I'm going to answer kind of the 5 questions of play-by-post gaming, and maybe, if you haven't considered it and you are constantly in need of a group, maybe this is a avenue for you to explore. So a play-by-post game, what is a play-by-post game? It's kind of in the title. The GM makes a post and the players respond to it. And so instead of talking through the situation, we are writing it up. Now, this has some advantages. It allows players to dig deep into what their characters are thinking, or if maybe you're not a great voice actor, you can describe how your character sounds, like grunting in pain. Thulgar grips his axe tightly, feeling the sweat on the leather before he swings it at the goblin. So it allows players to be a little bit more expressive in ways that you just don't necessarily get to do at the table. And we can emote, we can both, with our voice and with our face. But there's something about play-by-post where you actually get to describe it a little more, and I like that. Another thing is it's great because you don't have to worry about, hey, what time do we all have to get together? You can just, as you have time, write out your actions. There are some cons. It's not as fast as a tabletop session. A single 4-hour tabletop session can take anywhere between 2 weeks and a month to get through, depending on the group and the post speed. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. You are also managing multiple characters in a play-by-post game is far easier for both GMs and players. Players want to play multiple characters in a play-by-post game. I'm usually more than okay with that. So that's what it is. It's a way to sit around with your friends and play role-playing games without a lot of the scheduling hassles that we sometimes face, or without the limited interest that we sometimes find at the gaming table. Your group doesn't want to play Torg, find a Torg play-by-post, or start one with, fans on the Ulysses Discord or the Torg Discord, and you're ready to go. So that answers kind of what and why. Why do I like play-by-post? It scratches another RPG itch for me. I'm not going to get Mage 20 to the table here anytime soon. But I've got a great Mage 20 play-by-post game going on my my Discord server. It's great. It allows me to play additional games when I'm unable to get those, whether for timing or player availability, anything like that I wouldn't get at the table. The other nice thing is, for both GMs and players, you're not on the spot. Take an hour, write out your 3 sentences, make sure it's really what you want to do, and then post it. It's great. I love it. Grom, that is the problem with a play-by-post game, is it's very easy to lose momentum. People stop responding, the game dies. So responses are the lifeblood of the game. So how do I run these? Well, let's start with where. We've done what and why. Where do I play by post? Well, you need something that allows for asynchronous communication. You need something that allows for a separation for the game. What do I mean by that? You're going to want something that lets you say, hey, people in this channel are at this location, whereas people in this channel are at this location, so that those two threads aren't convoluted in you're scrolling through multiple posts going, this one doesn't apply to me, this one doesn't apply to me, this one doesn't apply to me. So where I typically run play-by-posts, I used to run them on Rondex, but Rondex hasn't been updated for a while. It used to be, for me, the gold standard of play-by-post gaming. Just everything about Rondex Portal. Thank you, Rondex, whoever you were. That site was amazing. It was a bit of internet gold for, you know, the 2000s and 2010s. For me, the one I like the most right now is Discord. And here's why. I can set up a server with multiple channels. I can set up sub-channels based off of locations and restrict who's in those sub-channels based off of who's actually on site. I have an OCC thread so players can discuss what they want to do out of character. Because we're playing a mage game, I have a text thread that they can send text messages to as long as they have cell signal. And I have a private channel with each player that I can reach out to and ask them questions or do asides, which, you know, I would normally have to take people up and leave the table. Another great thing about Discord is the fact that you can find bots for anything. There's a World of Darkness die roller bot that allows you to roll dice in Discord. There are great bots for 5th edition because it's the biggest game right now. And those dice bots are amazing. They let you roll up characters. They let you import monsters. They let you roll for your monster stats. You can run a very effective campaign play-by-post, and all of the dice rolls and all the monster stuff and the character sheets are all handled in Discord bots. You can upload maps. Maps was one of the tough parts in when I ran Castles and Crusades as a play-by-post. But I found ways around it. You know, I used Excel sheets and was like filling them in as they explored the maps and then just taking screenshots and posting it in there. You can pin important information. You can lock a thread and close it once that area is done. So it makes it really easy to run a game on Discord. In fact, if you're going to start a play-by-post game now, I would argue that Discord might be the best place for it. All right, hold on. Let me see. I've seen a lot of scrolling. So John played a 2-year play-by-post of Coffin Rock, which was awesome. Padre, you got 2 games of Torg and is running a 3rd one. That's fantastic. Grom, you've done 1 play-by-post, but it fizzled. That's fair. I've been there. You got full 6 months per act for your Torg Infinity game. That's That's fantastic. Yeah, splitting the party is way easier in a play-by-post game. Um, Man, do we need to start a play-by-post game on the Iconic Discord? I'll put a poll up and see who would be interested. That might be a fun thing to do. I'm in a point in my life where I think I can handle 2 play-by-posts. Okay, so I mean, actually, that's how I met my buddy Ben, and why I moved to Texas is that I was running a Numenera. I was setting up a Numenera play-by-post and posted it on Google Plus, and Ben and Jess decided they wanted to play in my Numenera play-by-post, and we have become just amazing friends because of that. Okay, so what I'm hearing people say is, yes, I should run a play-by-post. All right, let me run through some ideas, and I'll get a play-by-post idea up on the Iconic Discord. So that was, what do we do? We did what, why, where, a bit of how, and who, your friends. And here's the thing that's great about a play-by-post. You're not limited to who's in your gaming group. You're limited to who you know. So if you're a person who loves Savage Worlds and never gets to play Savage Worlds because your players won't step away from D&D, or you love Pathfinder 2 and would love to play Pathfinder 2, but your friends just want to play Savage Worlds, play-by-post allows you to find other people who have similar interests and play. Now, what are some recommendations that I have for play-by-post? So this comes from, again, like 20 years of running play-by-posts, as well as having run several asynchronous diplomacy games. You want a schedule, okay? And the schedule basically is, hey, as a GM, I'm going to make the major post this day of the week. So Mondays, here's when the new time block starts. And that time block can be anything from, hey, we're going to play a single day of gaming once a week. So every week is one day of gaming. It could be every week is a round of combat, or every so many days is a round of combat when you're in it. The goal is to let everybody know, hey, here's the schedule. It's the same thing as playing at the table. Hey, we're playing every Tuesday night from 6:30 to 9:30. Hey, at this point, this is when you need to make your post. The other thing that you need to do, and I realize this puts pressure on people, but saw a bumper sticker that said, "Don't honk at me, I'm sensitive." And this person refused to make a right-hand turn, even though there was no traffic coming. And so I'm sitting there going, so how else am I supposed to tell you to look up from your phone and make the right-hand turn if you don't want people to honk at you because I'm supposed to respect the fact that you're sensitive? Why do I bring this up? Because I've had people go, JM, you can't put a timer on my turn. Yeah, I can, because you're not the only person playing in a play-by-post. And so this is something like, there is a bit of anxiety, and I get that, but you should not hold up the entire group or expect the entire group. You wouldn't expect that at the gaming table for one person's turn to take a half hour or an hour out of your gaming time just because they need extra time to absorb and figure out what they want to do. So when we're in combat, when we're in things, I usually say, hey, everybody's got 48 hours to respond to a major post. Okay, after that, I will start making responses to the people who responded. And I'll let you know if you miss one, you need to make sure you're in the next one, because I know as a player, if I miss 2 or 3 major posts, I feel so ashamed that I just stop playing in the game. So, as the GM, let people know, hey, here's what the timing on the posting is. The other thing is, obviously things come up and we can be flexible. But when you're in combat, I usually say, okay, you have 24 hours to respond at most. Sometimes I'll say you have 12 hours to respond because I want to keep the combat moving. John, I have never in all my life, and I started playing diplomacy in my early teens. I can say with 99% confidence that I have never played a game of diplomacy with the exact same group of people more than once. So like in Risk, if you lose Risk, it's usually because of the die rolls. And there's something about that buffer of the die rolls that helps. It helps. It's oil on the troubled water of friendships in the group. Diplomacy is a completely different beast, and here's why. I think there's 2 reasons. The first is the time commitment. If you're just playing diplomacy as a board game, I think it's probably easier. But I've never just sat down and played diplomacy for 2 hours. It's always been, okay, here, on Monday, we're starting year 1, spring. Fill out your orders. On Friday, we'll resolve them. New orders are on Monday. So it takes essentially a month to get through a single full cycle of diplomacy. So you're invested in this game. And the other thing is there's no dice. Which means when you lose, it is most likely because someone lied to your face and said, I will support you, while actually supporting the person you were attacking or who was attacking you. And that, the knives in the back from a game of diplomacy, those wounds do not fade quickly. Oh man. Padre said one of his old gaming stores had cards advertising marital therapy taped to the copies of diplomacy in the store. The other game that's like that, if you've never played it, Tigris and Euphrates is a wonderful game by Rainer Kenzia. He's a very German game designer. I love Tigris and Euphrates. My wife loves Tigris and Euphrates, but it's very much the same thing. If you lose, it's because there's no dice. It's because someone came into your area, kicked over all your stuff, kicked you out, and took over it. So Trish and I, probably because she did not want to play role-playing games when we first got married. And so she's like, teach me another game. So we played Risk 2210 basically every night for the first 6 months of our marriage. And I just trounced her. Or I'd throw the game, which made her even angrier. So we learned pretty early on, how to get our frustration out with the game and then go back to whatever we were doing. But we played Tigris and Euphrates with some friends of mine that shall remain nameless. And the shouting match they got into when the husband took his wife's city, we were legitimately convinced that we had started a divorce. They did not. But we were both like, I think we might be done with Tigris and Euphrates. So anyway, long rambly story to say, put times on it and hold people to it. Okay, if it's an emergency that comes up, that's fine. But for the most part, if you have a time, try and stick to it, both as a GM and a player. Additionally, just know that even more so than at the table games, the chances of your play-by-post, the interest waxing and waning, and possibly just fading away is probably higher with a play-by-post than with other types of games. But on the flip side, you have this amazing record of everything that happened in the game, and you can search for it, you can scroll back to it, you have a lasting record of the game, which is succeed or fail is a pretty cool thing. So that is my look at play-by-posts. I really like it. That's my I guess I'm starting one on the Iconic channel. Look for the poll later today to see if people are interested, and we'll find a way to get Grum and Padre in on that play-by-post as well. Next week, we're going to go over some GM campaign management tools that I've been encountering and have really enjoyed, with some resources to go along with that. And then I am off next Thursday because I will be driving to San Marcos, Texas, and I will be going to ChupacabraCon. If you're going to be at ChupacabraCon, I am running 2 games there. I'm running the Necropolis for Call of Cthulhu and the Broken Horn, or the Horn of Abundance, I think is what I retitled it to, for 13th Age Glorantha. So I will be there. If you're there, please come and say hi. So that's it. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I am JM. This has been Behind the Screen, and I will see you all later. Till next time, have a good one.